In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His last and beloved Messenger Muhammad, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. The title of this episode is Disproving Evolution in Minutes. Now, brothers and sisters, I showed in previous videos how to disprove evolution and how to prove the fact of creation by giving certain scientific proofs for that. Now, in this episode, I will show how to disprove evolution in another way. And the reason I am focusing on this topic is that the theory of evolution has a devastating effect on religion and the belief in God. How is this so? Now, the theory of evolution, its basic premise, its basic kind of pillar, is that creatures that we see nowadays, they developed and they evolved their design based on environmental factors, natural selection, and so forth. So the basic premise of the theory of evolution is that the design of creatures we see nowadays is as a result of millions of years of development and evolution and change due to the environment. So the horrible effect of this theory on religion is that a person, when he believes in this, in the theory of evolution, he believes that what's the need for a creator? Since that we evolve and we develop our design, what's the need for a creator? What's the need for the designer for this creation? And no wonder that the majority of people who believe in evolution, they are atheists. They don't believe in God. Now, we need to remove this theory and to prove its falsehood, so that people would go back to worshipping Allah God Almighty and realizing that there is a creator, and this creator is the most merciful, the most compassionate, and they would have happiness in this life and the hereafter. Now, let me explain this by giving the following example. Suppose that there is an engineer, and this engineer, he drew the blueprints for a product. There is an engineer, and he has the engineering specifications, the blueprints for a product. He has the model for the products. And when you see the products and you see that they match in their shape, in their function to the blueprints, then you can be rest assured that this product came from that engineer. The example once again, an engineer drew blueprints for the product, and then you saw the product. If you see that the product matches the blueprints of that engineer, then you can be rest assured that that engineer made these designs or these products. Now, keeping that in mind, let's apply this to Allah God Almighty, and for Allah God belongs the best of examples. Allah God Almighty tells us in the Noble Quran, the last revelation for people, that the blueprints for creation, He teaches us what's the schematics, the blueprints for every created thing. Where in the Quran, in chapter 21, verse 30, which states, "Have not those who disbelieve known that the heavens and the earth were joined together as one united piece, one weaved tapestry? Then Allah tore them apart. And Allah God has made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe?" So if we think about this verse, not just merely reciting it, pondering upon it, we see that Allah Almighty tells us here and teaches us that He created everything from water, meaning that the blueprints for every created thing, we can find these blueprints in water. So Allah God made from water every living thing, meaning that water is a model for creation. So the design of water will be the same design for every creature. So if we prove that every created object has the same design of water, has the same blueprints for creation, this means that Allah Almighty designed everything and He is the creator of everything, and this disproves that the creatures we see nowadays, they developed their design, they evolved their design. Now, how to prove this? If we think about water from a structural point of view, to start with a structural point of view, we see that Allah Almighty arranged the atoms in water in a hexagonal pattern, a hexagonal design, in hexagonal cells. Now, since Allah has made from water every living thing, this means that everything in creation should have this hexagonal design at its core. So if we look at the human body, for example, in our muscles, in skeletal muscles, we see that Allah Almighty designed the muscle fibers and filaments in a hexagonal pattern, exactly like water. So our body is based on his hexagonal shape, the blueprint of creation. Also, if we look at the design of insects, the eyes of insects, here we have the eyes of a mosquito. We see that Allah designed a hexagonal cell, exactly like water. Also, if we look at the design of wood material in trees, we see that it has a hexagonal shape, like water exactly. So we see that everything in creation, of course, also another example, in silica material, we see the hexagonal design again. So we see that the products, which are the creatures in this example, they have the same design of the schematic, the blueprint of creation, which is the design of water. As Allah tells us in the Quran that He designed everything and He created everything from water. And of course, this is from a structural point of view matter. Now coming to energy, we see that energy propagates in water with concentric spheres. For example, if you drop a rock in a pond of water, the energy propagates with concentric spheres. And energy is carried in water from one place to another along waves. Energy in water is carried along waves from point A to point B. So if we look, for example, at energy in creation, if we look at mechanical energy, how it propagates from its source, we see that it propagates with concentric spheres, exactly like water. So mechanical energy, and of course also thermal energy, any kind of energy, it propagates from its source with concentric spheres like water exactly. Also, if we look at the human body, we see that biosignals from the brain, muscles, the heart, they have the shape of water waves. So we see, brothers and sisters, that everything in creation, every created thing, has the same design of water. It has the same blueprint of creation. So this proves, by a scientific way, that since the products, they match the design of the designer, Allah God Almighty, this means that Allah God designed everything, so there's no evolution in the design. Everything Allah created in its design, and this proves the fact of creation, and this proves the theory of evolution. It's clear-cut, straightforward proof, and Allah God willing, you saw that. And brothers and sisters, we need to show this to people in order that this will be a way for them to be guided to the path of Allah God Almighty, and realize that there is a Creator. He is the most compassionate, the most merciful, and He loves His creation, and He wants people to be guided to His path. And if you are guided by what you are hearing now, what you are watching now, then Allah God Almighty, that's the work of Allah God Almighty, that He used this as a mean for you to be guided to His path, and to have happiness in this life and hereafter. And to know more details about this topic, please visit my website at www.quran-miracle.com, and you can email me at zaidquran@yahoo.com, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.